I went to Miamisburg High School. I graduated in 2007.
What do you want to do the rest of your life?
My goal is to become a social worker. So, I was late signing up for classes at Sinclair, so I start the next semester, which I think is sometime in January, but I'm not 100% sure. I have to meet with my academic advisor Tuesday.
So how long have you been homeless?
For about a year and a half now.
What led to you being homeless?
I have 3 kids, and their dad was very abusive, and Children's Services got involved, and they said that I couldn't protect my kids from their dad.
Okay.
So they took them, and 2 of my sons are autistic.
Okay.
And they're special needs, so I couldn't work. I had to take care of them full time, and when I lost them, I lost my source of income, and I've never really worked before, so when I lost them, I lost my house and everything, so I became homeless on the streets, because my family's not here, my family's in Kentucky.
Okay, where at Kentucky?
Wesley County.
Okay, I'm down from Wolfe County.
I don't know where that's at.
It's down Campton, Red River Gorge, that area.
My mom lives about 45 minutes away from Hazard.
Okay, it's pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's down that eastern Kentucky.
Yep.
What do you think people? What did you learn? Let me sit down for my knee goes out on me here. What did you learn? What could you tell people about being on the streets you didn't know before, and maybe that America needs to know?
A lot of people are not homeless by choice.
Yeah.
They don't have family. There's not a lot of resources here in Dayton, so they only give you a certain time limit to stay at the shelter, and a lot of people, their problem is they can't get a job. You don't have an address to put down. It's not like I stay under a bridge down here, and it's not like I can put on an application my address is 75 Construction Bridge. So I mean, and everyone thinks that it's easy. It's just that easy to go fill out an application and get a job. But when you don't have resources to take a shower, wash your clothes, an address, and a lot of us don't have phones, so it's like, how is a job supposed to get a hold of us? And I mean, and there's only one shelter there's 2 shelters. There's the domestic violence shelter, and then there's the Apple Street shelter, but they don't help you as much as people think. Like, if you can't get a job, they pretty much tell you you have so much time, then you have to leave. And if you can't get a job, you can't find a place to live, so then you're out on the streets. And there's a stereotype of all the homeless people are on drugs, and that's not true. Don't get me wrong, there are some people that are on the streets that are on drugs, but there's a lot of them that's not. They don't know what to do, they don't know where to go, because Dayton doesn't have very many resources. And their funding, they only get so much funding a year, and then when that's gone, there's pretty much nothing they can do. And for the people that are on drugs down here, there's not a lot of places for them to go to get help.
You think they realize that most of the people in Congress are on drugs too?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
I do.
Well, I'm just saying, like, there's so much judgmentalism against people, and it's like, it goes to the top. They ain't any better.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that there's a lot of people that are in Congress that are on drugs, but I mean, that you don't ever hear them talk about it because...
Of course, yeah. One of them got busted earlier this year.
Huh?
The congressman from Florida got busted for cocaine earlier this year. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like to be homeless, but at the same time, there's nothing that I can really do. I mean, I'm very blessed that these people that I met are giving me the chance to work with them and help me with a job so that I can try and save money to get a place to stay, even if it's a hotel room. And, at least I'll have a place to stay and a place to take a shower.
Have you ever, anybody giving you trouble out here? I mean, as far as being a woman on the streets, what have you faced?
There's a lot of guys that try and hit on me and try and tell me that I can come home with them. And the police down here, they're really bad about harassing the homeless people. You know, because we don't have nowhere to go, so like we hang out in, you know, certain places, and they consider that loitering, so they get onto us, and like if they see us walking down the street, they stop us and they search us. And where I stay, St. Clair is really bad about every time we walk out, they harass us, they stop us, they search us. They, you know, automatically assume that we're all on drugs. So they always say, well, where's your heroin at? Where's your cocaine at? And, you know, it gets really, really old. And then when we get stopped, we get frustrated and aggravated. And they're like, well, why are you getting frustrated? And it's like, because every time we turn around, you guys are in our face. And we're not doing nothing wrong. You know, a lot of us don't bother people, you know. We just stay to ourselves, and it gets really frustrating when they are always harassing us and stopping us and searching us.
Before they have big events in Dayton, like the downtown, I think urban nights, and so, have there been like I've heard stories of police purges of homeless throughout downtown. Have you experienced any of that?
No, I haven't experienced that yet. But I mean, I'm not saying that it couldn't happen to me, but for the most part, I try and stay out of downtown unless I'm catching the bus. And I mean, usually I don't ask people for things. I don't ask people for money, because usually I have bus fare because I try and scrap and do things to try and make money. But you know, sometimes I don't have it, and I have to ask people. And I don't like to, because people get rude and they're really nasty when you ask them, because it's like when you ask them like you have any spare change, it's like they think you're asking them to chop off their right arm for you or something.
Yeah.
And it's like a lot of people down here, they treat the homeless really bad.
Yeah.
Like they're very rude and nasty, and they say rude comments like "get a job, you bum," or "get away from me, you nasty bum." And it's just, some of the things that they say is very hurtful. And it's like, you know, a lot of people that are homeless, they used to be like some of the people out here in Dayton that work, you know. All their money, their job, their house, their car, that could all be taken away from them tomorrow. And they could be right in our shoes. Because I used to be homeless before I became homeless. I thought that they were homeless by choice, and I had the same stereotype in my mind that they're all on drugs. And it was like literally overnight I became homeless. And now I see that it's not by choice. I didn't choose to live like this. And you know, I regret the things that I said about homeless people, because now I'm in their shoes, and it's not easy.
No.
It's very hard, and when you get called names and people talk nasty to you, it's very hurtful. It's like we have a heart, we have feelings too, and I don't think they realize this.
What would you do if you were in charge of the city or in charge of the country to deal with homelessness?
I would make it to where the homeless people had more options. I would do whatever I could to make sure that the homeless people had places to go where they could sleep. I mean, they do have places around here that feed, but I would make it more available to them. And I would try and set up like kind of like a boarding house.
Okay.
To where homeless people could come and stay, you know, and I would try and set up programs to where homeless people could find jobs and housing. Because that's a big thing with homeless people down here. They don't have a way to get help with housing. They don't have a way to get help with jobs. And I think that if they did, the homeless there wouldn't be so many homeless people on the streets.
Yeah, I forget the number, but there's a lot more empty buildings in America than there is homeless
Like
people.
a lot of these abandoned houses and stuff like that. Like, if I was in charge of Dayton or in charge of Ohio, I would take those empty abandoned houses and I would let homeless, like, it would be like, okay, there's this abandoned house. Homeless people could stay there, but part of them staying there, they would have to help fix it. We would help supply the stuff that's needed to fix it, but for them staying there, they would have to help, like redoing walls, painting, helping with, like, if we hired a plumber to do the plumbing, help, you know, if they need certain supplies handed to them, or the electrician and stuff like that. Because, I mean, really, all those buildings are doing is just sitting there and rotting.
Yeah.
And that could be a way to get the homeless people off the streets and help them learn new things to where they could potentially get a job. But they don't look at it that way. Ohio don't look at it that way.
Anything else you'd like to say?
No.
I'll tell you what, I thank you for sharing your time and perspective.
That was great, Heather. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good luck with your job.